G'day, it's Heath here from pickinglessons.com. In this mandolin lesson, we'll take a look at some cool blues licks here in the key of G. We'll be using the major and minor blues scale, some arpeggios, some double stops, and we'll be focusing on playing with downstrokes in our picking, getting some drive in the feel. In a moment, we'll take a look at the first 4 measures of this 12-bar blues. But if you head on over to pickinglessons.com, you'll be able to get yourself a copy of the tab that we're working from. You'll also find the remainder of this lesson where we break down the next 8 bars of these licks we're learning. And you'll find a backing track and play-along track for what we're working on. So pickinglessons.com. All right, let's start off with the first 4 measures of this 12-bar, nice and slow. And we'll have a chat about the techniques we're using and areas you need to focus on. First 4 bars with pickup notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Alright, so there's the first 4 measures of this 12 bar in G. Let's have a look at the licks that we found so far in these 4 bars. We're using double stops and we're using part of the major and minor blues scale here. And to begin with, the pickup notes are in this double stop that we find as part of our 4-finger G chord, if you know that one. 2nd fret on string 2 and the 5th fret on string 3. So there's our double stop there. Running through those notes with a little staccato. So if you look at the notation there's a little dot underneath the quarter notes. It just means to shorten that sound, staccato. And as I mentioned before, we're going to focus on really using downstrokes throughout. We're playing with a shuffle feel, so the 8th notes have that shuffle, but we're going to play everything as a down to give us some nice drive. And the tempo is not too quick, so it's not too hard. Feel free to alternate your picking if you need to, but try for downstrokes, it gives it a really nice feel. So that pickup into another double stop here, fret 5 on string 2 and fret 3 on string 1. And we're playing tremolo over that. So the tremolo technique here, filling the 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just nice and steady. You can change your dynamic through there. You can hit it with a nice punch and back it off, and then you can kind of swell it as well. Moving into the next chord. So you can kind of have this flow up and down through those tremolo moments with the double stops, but keep your pick fairly firm in your fingers and don't let too much of the pick go into the string. You really want it to just glide over the top so that you can get a nice steady tremolo sound. So the double stop there, and then the second chord that we're changing to is a variation of the G chord, because what we're doing is we're bringing in the flat 3. So the flat 3 doesn't belong to the G major chord. There should be a B note in that chord, and we're going to use a B flat, and it gives us this sound. So we're using 5th fret on string 2, and our little finger is on fret 6 on string 1. So essentially that's the flattened 3rd from a minor chord plus the 5th note of the G chord. Sort of suggesting a minor chord, but we're playing over the G major, very bluesy sound. So the 2 double stops to begin with, from that G position into the G with the flat 3. And then back into that original double stop there. So keep your tremolo smooth. Like I mentioned, you can sort of bring it up and down, punch it to begin with. All of that stuff's okay, it's worth experimenting with there. But do keep it as steady as you can as you're moving over those strings. Moving on to measure 3. Measure 3, we've got that same double stop into this lick. And we're running down the minor blues scale into the major blues scale, that major 3rd resolving to the G. So what we have there really is that minor pentatonic scale, but then bring in the major 3rd resolving to the G. So essentially this minor pentatonic scale sliding out of that minor 3rd, the flat 3, the B flat again, into the major 3rd that belongs to our G chord, and resolving down to the G. So that lick sounds like this in measure 3. Resolving to the G note there in measure 4. Now the double stop kicked off with a staccato again. It's just a nice way of accenting your rhythms, those staccato notes. So 1, 2, 3, a little bit slower. And all downstrokes if you can. It works really nicely, all downstrokes. Okay, measure 4 to finish this part of the lesson off. Measure 4. This is leading us to the next chord, the C chord. So this chromatic run wants to head to that C note. So that's what's happening there. It's kind of it's a lick with a sense of movement into the C chord. All right. So that first 4 measures again, just from the double stops. There's your flat 3 into the G. Into that chromatic run, which is going to get us to the C note next as part of the next lick. So if you head on over to pickandlessons.com, we will check out these next licks where we have a look at the C change in this progression, then over the D7 change, and there's another G variation in there as well. So you get yourself a copy of the tab at pickandlessons.com, the next part of this lesson, and also some play along and backing tracks. I'll see you there.